Hello, everyone. Welcome to the fourth episode of Ian Chit Chat podcast. Thank you so much for watching us. I would like you to like the video and subscribe on our YouTube channel as well. Today we have a great guest. She's sharp, bright, and brainy. She's able to speak many languages, and she's a kind of polyglot, and she's also, I would say, multilingual. We've got a very great guest. Let's get familiar with her. Thank you so much, Sarina, for accepting our invitation, by the way.
Thank you for giving me an invitation. And hello, everyone. This is Sarina. I'm 14 years old. I'm a multilingual, and currently I can speak about 11 languages.
Great. Thank you so much. I'm really glad to have you here in today's show. So, how many languages are you able to speak?
Well, I can speak about 10 languages. I'm fluent in English, of course, French, Spanish, Korean, and Japanese.
Wow, sounds awesome.
Yeah.
And what inspired you to learn those languages?
Well, ever since I was a kid, my parents, they taught me English through, playing child's movies in the original English language for me. But then after I saw on TV about these kind of countries, about Spain, about Russia, and I thought to myself, wow, it'd be so cool to learn their language.
I see.
And so that really inspired me to learn it, and to be able to speak another language made me think that, okay, so if I speak another language, I think it would make me smarter. So when I was a kid, I always wanted to be, smarter than everybody else, being the last child in the family. So I think that really made me inspired to do it.
Very good. So how could you manage to practice all this language so far you've learned?
Well, when I was a kid, as I said, I saw the TV shows in English.
Mm-hmm.
After I learned English, after I started going to school, I started learning other languages. So my parents were totally okay, and they were more than honored for me to learn some new language. So my dad actually taught me how to plan these things. He was like, okay, so on Sunday, on Sunday morning, you're gonna practice Korean, and on a Sunday evening or at the midnight, you're gonna practice German, for example. And so I could, when I started going to school, I could speak, English, like my own language. I wasn't really fluent in it, but I could understand it. So I started going on YouTube, for being a technology child. I grew up with technology. I was really familiar with social media. So I could go on YouTube and I watched videos, like practice videos all day, or I would watch variety shows. And so that's how I managed to, learn them and practice them. It would get hard sometimes, but, I kind of got the hold of it at some point.
Great. And what are the difficulties of learning those languages? Which language? Let's talk about. Let me ask this question. The question like this: what language you found the most difficult to learn?
I think Russian.
Russian.
I can speak Chinese and Arabic, but Russian is the most difficult one. You see, in mathematics, we've got all these formulas and laws, and in Russian, it's just like math and physics.
Wow.
It is so difficult. You've got a formula for, alphabet, for, grammar, and it was so difficult. And to manage to, master their, how do you say it, master the fluency in it, it was really difficult. And their accents are so difficult. Like in Ukraine, you've got a different type of accent. In Russia, you've got a different type of accent. So it was pretty difficult for me to learn that language.
And the second language, the second most difficult one?
I would say Chinese.
Chinese.
We've got all these characters. We've got about 12,000 characters. Like it's like alphabet.
And there's no is there any alphabets?
We've got characters, Chinese, but they're not alphabetic. You've got one character, it means water, and you put it next to another character, it means like boat.
Wow.
And so that's really difficult.
Yeah. Okay. So and what are the difficulties of learning a language? Can you?
The difficulties, I mean, when you, for me, I knew English, so for learning a language, I was familiar with learning language with difficulties of it. But if you're a beginner, you've never spoke any other language but your mother tongue, and so it would be a little difficult. I mean, the difficulties would be, having to master the accent. I mean, the accents, the dialects are pretty difficult. The alphabet, of course. The the vocabulary. There are tons of vocabulary in each language, but I think the most difficult thing for you to master is like speaking. Most people are good at writing, reading, but speaking is the most difficult one, because you've got to be face to face, and to be able to speak to someone in a language, you've got to know how to speak fluently. You've got to have the courage to speak. Some people have social anxiety, some people are shy, so they can't really master speaking. So I think that's the difficulty.
So how did you overcome this difficulty of being fluent in English? What have you done?
Well, when I was a kid, my parents had the first of all, showed me the TV shows, the cartoons in the original language. But then when I started going to school, my parents took me to the academic an institute. And Miss Majidi, she's been my teacher for like years. I've said it 100 times to everyone I meet. She's like my own mom, and she's the most successful woman I know. And she really, the most important thing to learn a new language is the teacher. The most important thing is the teacher. So your teacher should be able to make you like a language, not make you do learn it. Should make it difficult for you. The teacher should make learning a language fun for you. And Miss Majdi was a really great person for me to, and she really fulfilled that a dream for me. And so, but at home, but that was at the academics. But at home, my dad always spoke to me in English. He wouldn't let me talk in Persian. He was like, I'm not gonna speak to you unless you speak.
Is he able to speak English?
He can speak English fluently and some other language like Arabic and Indian. And yeah, that's
great. And what about the discussions that you have actually so far taken part? What's the role of those discussion gatherings?
They have a major part in learning my English, and I would thank you for making me attend these discussions. They're like really creative. You're face to face with a bunch of people who share their ideas. You can learn something new from them by sharing your own ideas at some point. And it would at first when I attended, I was like 8 or 7 when I attended my first discussion, but then I started being more confident in speaking, and I saw other people speak, so I was more encouraged to speak. So that was really great.
Great, sounds good. So let's talk about the easy actually ways of learning a language. Is there any easy way to learn a language?
There's no easy way to learn it. You see, it's easy unless you make it easy for yourself, unless you find it easy. For example, I think based on my experience, the easy way is to first learn the basics from a good teacher. Attend some classes, but after you learn the basics, you can easily watch some YouTube videos. Watch movies. First, for me, I started watching Friends, the series. I started watching it first with the English subtitle, then with the Persian subtitle, and then without any subtitle.
Great.
So that really helped me. And listening to music, listening to podcasts, they really help you, and it makes it fun for you to learn it.
There's no easy way. You have to try and work hard.
Yeah, you have to work hard, and after you start to work hard, you see, oh, this is really fun to learn, so it becomes easier for you.
Okay, great. So let's talk about your own daily life. What's your typical day like? Let's see, what do you do during the day? From
Well,
morning
you
to
know,
night?
I'm a student, so I most days I have, classes. I have back-to-back classes at school. But the days that, like holidays, like or the weekends, I usually wake up at 6:30 or 5:30
Early-
because
early morning.
I'm an early bird. So I wake up, I do a bit of exercise, I eat breakfast, I start, doing some homework if I have homework. I practice a little bit of, this language. You see, I watch videos on YouTube based on each language.
Different languages.
Yeah, based on different language. And so, I do my homework. I play a little bit of violin. I'm really
Wow.
interested in instruments, so that's really fun. And do my homework, watch some TV, and I like cooking too. Some days I
Interesting.
come. I told my mom, I want to cook today, so please get out of the kitchen and do
Interesting.
some chores. Of course, I'm the last child, so I'm in charge of vacuuming, washing the dishes, and that's I can sometimes hang out with my friends, and
I
yeah,
see.
that's what it's like.
So what about your interests? Can you talk about your interests? What are your interests? Except besides learning a language, do you have any other interests?
I've got a bunch of I like art. I love painting, drawing. I love playing instruments. I can play about 3 instruments right now.
Wow.
Yeah,
That
I
sounds
can I
amazing.
can play piano, violin, and a little bit of guitar.
Guitar.
And I like reading. I really love reading about especially about astronomy. Astrobiology. So I really like that. And I like writing myself, writing books, writing journals, and
Wow.
that's really fun to do.
Do you write?
Of course, I write.
Wow, sounds great. And let's see. Let me ask you the last question. What was your parents' role in this journey of learning those languages?
Well, they have had a major part in my life, of course.
Mhm.
My mom, she's the most, amazing woman I know. In the winters or in the summer, when it was freezing or when it was hot, I would have back-to-back classes. So she would wait for me for hours
Wow.
when I finished it. And my dad really encouraged me to learn. At first, when I started learning English, like seriously, I really didn't like it. It was all that homework and stuff. But my dad really encouraged me, made me like it, and so they have had a major part in my life, and I cannot thank them enough.
Interesting. That's great. Did you have any suggestion for English learners, for a language learner, to what they should have done in order to be fluent in English? Just piece of advice, if you have.
Learn and don't learn a language because it's popular among people. Learn a language because you like it, even if it's not popular, among people. French is really popular, but Indonesian may not be popular, but you should learn it because you like it, and make it fun for yourself. Don't look at learning a language like a task.
Yeah,
Look
right.
at it like a hobby, an interest that you like to do. And so you can if you can you can be able to fulfill this, then you're gonna be all right about it. So that's it.
Great, thank you so much. And I really enjoyed talking with you
Thank
today.
you.
And I hope that the followers as well got the most of what we've talked so far. And I have nothing to actually to say. And this is the end of our today's podcast. I hope you enjoyed, guys. And you see, we've got a guest. She's able to speak many languages, at least 10 languages. So you also can make it. And there's no actually. It's not a kind of a quixotic plan. Okay, everybody or everyone can actually learn not a single language but many languages.
Yes.
As Sarina, by the way, has done it. By the way, I really appreciate it that you come over. And
Thank you for having me here.
You're most
Thank
welcome,
you.
and I hope that we will have another podcast in the near future.
Yeah.
And thank you so much, dear follower, for watching us. I hope you enjoyed. To the next episode, Goodbye.
Thank you everyone for watching this video, and thank you the great staff of Chit Chat for having me here and being able to, putting the best for this episode. And human brain has no limits, so don't limit yourself to learning a language.
Thank you so much. Goodbye.